Good morning and welcome to our Spotlight videos where we discuss cutting-edge employment law issues in the news. I'm Tom Spiggle, founder of the Spiggle Law Firm, a firm that helps people who've been fired or afraid that they might be. I am thrilled today to be joined by Stephen Anderson, who is an attorney in my office, and we're going to be talking about AI and employment law. Is that right, Stephen?
Yes, so there are a number of geographic areas that have passed some, or not passed, but are considering some employment law legislation as it relates to AI. They're bills to address AI, its use, and part of that is just how it affects employment. There's already been legislation in New York City that has passed regarding the use of AI, but a number of other jurisdictions are considering it, including Washington, D.C. And these bills, they share a number of the same characteristics. Each of the laws requires some sort of impact assessment or analysis to be conducted by the employer who's deploying the AI tool or the vendor who's developing and selling the AI tool. Second, a lot of these proposals require specific notice to be provided to the individual who's the subject of the AI tool's decision making. And that's just to provide some notice to that individual, and there's our other notice and transparency requirements to allow applicants and employees to understand how this tool will potentially be used to assess them in regards
Yeah,
to
and just to
employment
kind of frame it up for people, because what we're seeing employers do now is use AI to screen resumes as part of the hiring process, to make decisions about, obviously a lot of these employers get hundreds, if not thousands of resumes. There have been, these tools have been around for a long time, but AI is kind of supercharging these efforts where, and it represents great promise for employers, but also great peril, because, you've seen reports, probably other people have too. AI can be biased too. It often, collects, the intelligence from intelligence, I'll put that in quotes, from the internet, and applies it to a particular situation. So it scoops up. We've seen some embarrassing examples of this where it becomes terribly racist in the answers that it gives because it's pulling from all parts of the internet. I think we'll see that improve as AI gets more sophisticated. But the peril is that AI is systemically discriminating against certain classes of people, and these legislative efforts are a way to try to address that. The first of which is to let people know, hey, you've been screened by an AI, and this is the process that we use.
Yeah, and also some of the legislation requires them to do basically an audit to double check that these tools are not being used in certain ways, or and the degree to which they have to do the audit will vary. But and then some of these laws, the one important aspect of them is some include statutory damages. That is like per violation statutory damages. So if you're gathering up like hundreds or potentially in some cases like thousands of resumes and you discriminate against a large portion, that's per violation. Every single one is a separate thing. And in Washington, D.C.'s case, the statutory damages can go up to $10,000 per violation. So
wow, so we're likely to see some collective or class actions here, I would imagine, where an employer gets sideways on this. And like you said, there multiple violations, and then, attorneys, plaintiffs attorneys like us, you represent a class of people who've been affected, which is a big deal to the employer. I think the other thing to point out about these laws, and I mean, right, we're seeing this all over, as states, federal governments, countries are kind of figuring out the best way to try to regulate AI. So this is only gonna continue, but the EEOC just issued guidance to this point where basically they're essentially look, employers, you can't, deploy AI and then throw up your hands if AI is discriminatory. You are employer are responsible, and it sounds like these statutes are the same, are responsible for making sure that it doesn't discriminate or doesn't impact people in an unlawful way, which is a big deal. So we can't have these employers saying, "Hey, I hired this third-party company. They used AI. Whoops." That's not going to be an excuse.
Yeah, because it puts the requirements on the employer, but also some of these laws have basically pass-through requirements where if you engage a vendor to do these things, you have to contractually obligate the vendor to carry out these same, requirements.
Yeah. All right. Well, our 5 minutes went fast. This is a fascinating topic. We can dive into it some more, but I think for folks out there listening, AI is not a mystery. Is becoming seeping into every crevice of our life, including employment, and it's going to have impacts on employment law and the rights that employees have. So, stay tuned for more of that. I think there's going to be a fertile field for legislation and litigation and just changes in the workplace. So. All right, Stephen, I appreciate it. It was very, very interesting, and I'll let you get back to the next thing on your desk.
All right, thank you. Thanks for having me.
Take care.